Shalom, I'm Dr. Doug Wheeler, the Academic Dean of Kidron College. I want to thank you for your interest in our doctoral degree, and I would like to take some time on this video to explain to you how this all works, because it's different than what you see in most colleges. The doctoral degree in Messianic Judaism is a 48 credit-hour graduate degree designed to cultivate rigorous scholarship and theological depth within the framework of Messianic Jewish thought. Rooted in a high standard of academic excellence, the program is structured entirely around research and intensive writing in every course, with a clear expectation that students will engage deeply with both ancient texts and contemporary scholarship. A distinctive feature of this degree is its demand for conceptual writing as opposed to abstract or speculative approaches. Each assignment and research project must clearly articulate core ideas, theological frameworks, and exegetical insights in a manner that is grounded, coherent, and applicable to the study and the practice of Messianic Judaism. Students are trained to communicate complex ideas with clarity, depth, and practical theological relevance. Let me take just a moment and explain to you about our source requirement. To foster scholarly integrity and breadth, these sources must represent a diversity of voices, including classical and contemporary Jewish scholarship, Messianic Jewish theologians and historians, rabbinic literature and primary Jewish texts, academic biblical studies, and theological works. This ensures that the student engages in a comprehensive and balanced academic discussion, allowing them to write with confidence and depth. In each research and writing assignment, the study must include at least 75 sources, with a minimum of 50 sources cited within the paper. Now, at the heart of the doctoral program is the doctoral dissertation, a major scholarly research and writing project that will range between 150 to 225 pages of original published work. The dissertation must demonstrate a high level of critical research, theological insight relevant to the Messianic Jewish world, proper integration of the required source material, as well as clear conceptual argumentation. Source requirements for the dissertation are as follows. When you begin to write the dissertation, you must select and consider at least 125 sources. Of these sources, 50 to 75 must be actively cited and integrated into the dissertation itself. To meet the degree requirements, the dissertation must be published on an institution-approved academic or professional platform. And I want you to understand that publication is not optional. It is a final demonstration of the student's scholarly contribution and readiness for leadership in teaching, writing, and further academic studies. I want to provide you now with the breakdown of these 48 credit hours that are needed for you to complete the degree. The first is our research classes, and the credit amount for the research classes are 27 credit hours. And I will explain the research classes right now. Research class number 1 will begin with a paper that is 15 to 20 pages long on one of the 10 categories, which I will talk about in a little while. Research class number 2 is the same length, 15 to 20 pages, on a different one of the 10 categories. Research class number 3 goes up in page count. You'll write a 25 to 30 page paper on one of the 10 categories, and that earns you 3 credit hours, the same as research class 1, 2, and 3. Research class number 4, again, is a 25 to 30 page paper on one of the 10 categories, and it earns you 30 credit hours as well. Research class number 5, we go up to 40 to 50 pages on one of the 10 categories, and upon completion, that earns you 3 credit hours as well. Research class number 6 is again a 45 to 50 page paper on one of the 10 categories, earning you 3 credit hours. Research class number 7, we go up to 50 to 70 pages on one of the 10 categories, again earning you 3 credit hours. Research class number 8 is again 50 to 70 pages on one of the 10 categories, earning you 3 credit hours. Now, research class number 9 is a little different. Not only does it increase to 75 to 85 pages, but you can use the research class number 9 to begin the writing on the topic of your dissertation. You can use that research for your dissertation. Now, there are 12 additional credit hours that are given to you because each one of the doctoral students, after they have finished their research classes, will select one of the completed research papers that they have completed, and they will prepare and tape a bachelor's level course consisting of 24 to 26 one-hour teachings. That will earn you 4 credit hours. You will do that again. You will select a different completed research paper that you have that from the list above, and you will tape and prepare a bachelor's level course consisting of 24 to 26 45-minute to 1-hour teachings. Again, that's 4 credit hours. You will do this the third time. You will select one of the completed research papers that you have already done and prepare and tape a bachelor's level course consisting of 24 to 26 45-minute to 1-hour teachings. Again, earning you 4 credit hours. And the doctoral dissertation that we've already talked about will earn you 9 credit hours, but it's broken down as follows. The stage 1 of your dissertation will be the selection of the topic, and then that topic has to be approved by your faculty advisor, and then your research can begin. The student will be required to write a full outline of the dissertation to be reviewed and approved by the faculty advisor. And you cannot move forward with the dissertation until this outline is approved. That stage earns you 3 credit hours. Stage 2 is the actual writing now of the dissertation, and once you have completed it, it involves the oral defense of your dissertation in front of the dissertation committee, earning you again 3 credit hours. Now, upon approval of the dissertation committee, you will then begin the process of publication of your dissertation, earning you again 3 credit hours. Now, I've spoken to you about these 10 categories of study, and so I'm going to go over them now and show you how that works, because the doctoral student must choose 9 of the 10 categories of study for research and writing. Each category responds to one of the assigned research classes. This is meant to ensure that each student gains a well-rounded exposure to the most important areas of Messianic and Jewish studies. These categories are as follows. Category number 1 is in the area of Torah and Tanakh. And you, as a student, will study the Torah, the prophets, and the writings, with a focus on Hebrew exegesis, Jewish hermeneutics, pardes, and Messianic interpretation. Research projects will compare classical commentators, such as Rashi, Rambam, Ibn Ezra, with Messianic perspectives, illustrating how passages in the Tanakh are understood in Jewish tradition and how they point to Mashiach. This area of directed research papers can also explore themes such as covenant, holiness, and prophetic fulfillment. Now, Category 2 is entitled Brit Chadashah in Jewish Context. And in this category, students will analyze the New Testament as a fully Jewish collection of writings. Research will focus on the Second Temple period and Jewish background, including halakhic debates, temple theology, apocalyptic thought, and wisdom traditions. Guided research papers allow students to explore links between the apostolic writings and the Tanakh, as well as many other connections to rabbinic thought. Projects in this category may compare Paul's letters, Shaul's letters, with rabbinic halakha, or examine the role of Midrash in the parables of Yeshua. Category number 3 is entitled Rabbinic Literature and Hermeneutics. And in this category, students will gain an understanding of the Mishnah, Tosefta, Talmud, and Midrashim, learning how these texts shape Jewish life and thought. Research emphasis halakhic argumentation, agadic storytelling, and the rules of rabbinic interpretation. These rules will include the 7 laws of Hillel and the 13 laws of Rabbi Ishmael. This study will explore the connection between those rules of interpretation in the Gospels as well as in Paul's writings. Additionally, there will be an exploration of rabbinic parables alongside the parables of Yeshua. Category number 4 is the category of Hebrew language and Jewish liturgy, and students must develop basic proficiency in biblical and rabbinic Hebrew to understand primary texts. Additionally, students will study Jewish prayer and liturgical life through texts like the Siddur and Haggadah. This may include Hebrew classes. It may include classes on the Siddur offered through Kidron College, but research in this area should include basic textual criticism, as well as theological studies on liturgy and its connections to Messianic fulfillment. This research paper should link portions of the Amidah's Messianic petitions with the prayers in the Gospel. In category number 5, we begin to study and explore Messianic Jewish theology. And this category should focus on systematic and constructive theology from a Messianic Jewish perspective. Students will examine how Scripture, tradition, and Messianic interpretation influence our understanding of Hashem, Israel, and the nations. The aim here is to clarify what it means to follow Yeshua as the Messiah within Israel's covenantal life while actively participating in the broader body of Messiah. This area should also cover topics such as covenant theology, the ongoing role of Torah, the identity of Jewish and Gentile believers, the work of the Ruach HaKodesh, and since this is a very broad subject, careful consideration is needed on how to approach it given the wealth of information available on this topic. Category number 6, again, a wonderful category. and it's entitled The History of Israel, Judaism, and the Messianic Movement. So students, when working in this category, will explore Jewish history from ancient Israel through the Second Temple period, along with rabbinic development, medieval despoja, modern Zionism, the Shoah, and the rise of Messianic Jewish movements, not only in America, but in the world. Directed research papers can also examine Jewish believers in Yeshua across different eras, analyze the theological impact of historical events, or even investigate how modern Messianic Judaism developed within the context of world history. A great topic to explore, for example, is how Messianic Judaism has evolved from the early 1960s to the present, including the stages it went through among Gentiles to reach its current form. Recommended books on the history of ancient Judaism include Echoes of Glory, Visions and Valor, and The Oral Law of Sinai by Beryl Wynn. Those are great books to give you a great education on the history of Israel. Now, category number 7, also extremely important category, is Musar and spiritual formation. In this category, students will examine Jewish ethical and spiritual traditions, focusing on the works like Mesalat Yesharim, Orchot Zarikim, and Chovot HaLevavot, alongside modern authors such as Abraham Twersky, Alan Moranis, Barry Bloch, and Abraham Heschel, who was an absolute outstanding writer. Musar highlights character development, midot, as well as messianic discipleship and leadership growth. That is another area of study within this category. So directed papers might analyze, for example, how Musar relates to the New Testament ethics, such as humility in Mesalat Yesharim compared to Philippians chapter 2, or, for example, speech ethics in Orchot Zerikim contrasted with the Epistle of James. Great areas of study for you to consider. Category 8 is Jewish mysticism and Kabbalah. This category introduces you as a student to sources such as the Zohar and the Luranic Kabbalah. Research would involve exploring important concepts like the Ein Sof, the Shekinah, Tikkun Olam, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, Yechidah, the levels of the soul that's outlined in Genesis chapter 2, as well as their similarities and differences in New Testament theology. Research papers could include a thorough analytical engagement with these texts and messianic applications. For example, a student might analyze Shekinah theology in the Zohar alongside John's writing on God's indwelling presence. Wonderful category for study. Category number 9 is Jewish and Christian relations. And interfaith dialogue. In this category, students can explore the complex history between Jews and Christians, from early conflicts to modern interfaith dialogue. Research in this area could examine supersessionism, anti-Semitism, replacement theology, and messianic responses to Christian theologies. A paper in this category might focus on medieval disputations or the role of Jewish believers in early Christianity or in the early, quote, church, or current efforts to foster dialogue between Messianic Jews and the broader Jewish community as well as the church. A paper in this area could include such things as Jewish understanding of the Messiah and explain why it is so difficult to recognize that Yeshua was and is the Messiah within present-day Judaism. Category number 10, the last category to discuss, is entitled Practical Ministry, Leadership, and Halacha Praxis. This category should focus on applying Messianic Jewish scholarship to a real-world leadership and community life. Research projects should cover things like pastoral care, congregational halakhic decision-making, and integration of Torah and Musar in Messianic communities. It's also important to examine halakhic questions in modern-day Messianic congregational life, which should include the understanding of leadership models that are based on biblical and rabbinic procedures, including the observation and observance of feasts and festivals in the Messianic communities. This would include applying principles derived from Jewish texts and history to contemporary situations. Now, the goal of these research papers is to develop competence in each field of study and to train students in advanced research techniques, critical analysis, and academic writing skills. And by the end of this program, you will have created a body of research that demonstrates mastery in all areas of Messianic Jewish studies. So the total credit hours for the doctoral degree, again, to summarize, 9 classes are chosen from the 10 categories, and papers are written on them. That is 27 credit hours. Video production of the 3 bachelor's level classes that are based upon your research papers is 12 credit hours. The writing and the defending of the dissertation is 9 credit hours. That totals 48 credit hours of study. Now, I have to go a little bit farther yet, because even though you probably are getting a good feel for what this program looks like and how it's going to lead you into areas of scholarship, I want you to know that there are 2 paths of study to reach your doctoral degree. The first one is called the direct path, and the second is called the specific field of study path. And I want to take the time to explain them both to you. Pardon me. The first pathway is the direct path, which is a clear and comprehensive approach to the doctoral process. It is ideally suited for students who want to explore a wide range of topics within Messianic Jewish studies, because in this pathway, as I've mentioned before, a student will select 9 of the 10 academic categories and write a research paper for each. As you already know, these papers will vary in length as students improve their writing skills, with the ultimate goal of producing works between 60 and 80 pages. Each paper should demonstrate increasing depth of analysis, as well as engaging with primary texts, and the development of original insights that showcase both academic vigor and Messianic understanding. Once your 9 papers are complete, again, to reiterate, you will select 3 of those papers and transform them into video courses, each consisting of 24 to 26 lessons, which are approximately between 40 and 60 minutes in length. These courses serve a dual purpose. They allow you to demonstrate your ability to communicate advanced scholarship to a wider audience, and to integrate your research and teaching into your ministry. By the end of this process, you will have developed a solid body of written work and 3 complete courses ready to be used in either a congregational or academic setting. In addition, specifically, in terms of Kidron College, if one of your 3 courses are selected as part of our bachelor's level degree program, a designed portion of the bachelor's student tuition will be allocated to you as the instructor for that bachelor's level course. That is such an opportunity for you to not only be involved in helping us build the bachelor's program, but to be remunerated for your effort so that you have a source of income and become a partner with us in Kidron College. The second area of study still involves the 10 categories, but it is produced in a different way. This specific field of study, this second pathway, allows you to explore more deeply in specialized areas of study in Messianic Judaism and be able to go further in research by combining related topics. So instead of writing 9 separate papers, you will merge 2 categories into one major research project, resulting in a paper that is varied in length. Each of these combined studies must demonstrate genuine integration of 2 of the 10 categories of study. For example, examining how rabbinic hermeneutics intersects with Messianic theology, or how Musar ethics influence New Testament discipleship. You will complete this process 3 times, resulting in 3 comprehensive research papers, each covering 2 of the 10 categories. Again, for each of these papers, you will develop a video course consisting of 24 to 26 lessons, with each session lasting 45 to 60 minutes. Maybe you pull one from this category and one from one of the single papers. That's up to you. But these courses demonstrate, and I keep talking to you about these video courses that you're going to produce for the bachelor's level class. These demonstrate not only your expertise in complex topics, but your ability to teach effectively. And as I told you before, as in the direct method, if these courses are offered as part of our bachelor's program, a designated portion of the bachelor student's tuition will be allocated to you who have produced the videos. Now, after completing your 3 combined papers and video classes, you still need to write 3 additional individual research papers of appropriate length, each focusing on one of the remaining categories. This brings your total to 9 out of 10 areas of study, similar in scope to the direct method, but different instruction and focus. It gives you more room to write and research. So with all of that said, it's time to talk to you about the cost of the degree. And I'll tell you this, search around. You're going to find this to be very, very reasonable for this level of scholarship. The cost of the doctoral degree is $300 per credit hour. The total required credit hours to complete the degree is 48. Therefore, the overall cost of the whole doctorate degree is $14,400. Any transfer credits will be deducted from this amount. And I want you to understand that monthly payments are available. And right now we're offering 3 options with no interest or finance charges. You can make 24 monthly payments at $601.66 per month, $601.66 per month. If you need to extend it farther, you can pay 36 monthly payments of $400 a month. If you select the 48 monthly payments then your payment would be only $300 per month. Please note, if you need more time, we may be able to arrange that for you, longer term, lower payment, but please note this, that no diploma will be awarded until the entire balance is paid in full. So with that explanation, again, I thank you for your interest in our doctoral program. There are so many exciting things about this program, and yes, it's a lot of work, but it will bring you to a level of scholarship that will make you available to not only research and write, but to begin to use what you research and what you write and the classes that you teach to bring even more level of scholarship into Messianic Judaism, and that's our goal, to help you accomplish that task. Thank you for your attention to this presentation of our doctoral degree. And if you have any other questions, please do not hesitate to call me or our registrar, and we'll be glad to help you with any questions that you may have. God bless you, and thank you for your attention.